Hello everyone, welcome back to the second sessions of your online learnings today. And for these sessions, you are going to study the new lesson in your speaking tutor books. I hope you remember the 7 vocabulary that you have learned from the blueprint 4 in the previous videos. And in this video lesson, we are going to study another 7 new vocabulary related to a different topic in our speaking tutor books. So before we move on to that vocabulary, I would like to introduce the new lessons and what you will learn from this lesson. So if you look at the whiteboard here, there are some new topics that you can see here in Unit 5. So the lesson in our Unit 5 starts with a question form, which is why do earthquakes occur? You might understand the word earthquakes, and I will explain it later. Now we are on lesson 1, which is the dialogue and practice. In these lessons, there are 3 things I expect all of you to learn. The first one is the vocabularies. You will learn many vocabulary related to the earthquake, which is the science topics. And the second one, you will be able to listen to conversations between a professor at the university and someone who interviewed him about the topic of earthquakes. You will learn a lot about this topic by listening to the conversations. Last but not least, you will analyze the dialogue tip, how the professor give a speech related to the earthquakes. So what I hope that in this lesson, the first sessions that we study this lesson, we will focus on the vocabularies. So without any further ado, I would like to introduce the speaking form that you will learn. So the speaking form of this lesson is about cause and effects. What does this mean, cause and effects? You need to understand 2 different words. The first one is cause, and the second one is effects. What is cause and what is effects? To understand this clearly, we need to look at the meaning of this word. Cause, which means you make something happen. To make something happen, which means cause. And the consequence or the things that happen after the cause, we call effects. So let's look at the example to get a better idea. So in the context of flood, what do you know the word flood? Which is the natural disaster when there are a lot of water floating all around, let's say on the road or below your house. So all around there are water. You cannot go anywhere because there are all water around. So we call it flood. So this is the cause, flood. What happened when we have the flood in our country? When our country faced this natural disaster, first thing first, you cannot go anywhere, which is the effect of the flood. You cannot go to school, you cannot go to the supermarket because there's water all around. And you cannot use the electricity because if there are a lot of water, the electricity may be cut off. So these are the effect of the flood. So the flood is the cause. So in this lesson, you will learn to think about the effects. Let's say the water pollution. When our river is being polluted by a dangerous chemical, what are the effects of that? When our air are polluted by the smoke from the factory, what are the effects of that? When there are a lot of traffic congestions, you cannot go to work on time because the car stuck on the road. So what are the effects of traffic congestions? When your neighbor thinking or playing loud music every day, what are the effects? When you cannot concentrate, you cannot do exercise, you cannot enjoy your life because the cause is there are a lot of noise around you. So you need to think of cause and effect and you will be able to express cause and effect by learning this lesson. But before we move on to that, there should be some important vocabularies to pay attention to. Because if you open your books to page 86, they will present you the list of vocabulary and ask you to use those vocabulary to complete in the sentence. So to do those exercise, you need to understand this vocabulary first. So let's look at this vocabulary all together. So the first word is semologist. Semologist. Okay? Semologist. Semologist. So there are 4 syllables and the stress is on the third one. Semologist. Semologist. And the meaning of this word refers to a person who study earthquakes. If he or she specialize in the earthquakes, he or she know when it will happen, why it happens, so we call them seismologists. And you will listen to a seismologist professor explaining why do earthquakes occur. Vocabulary number 2, which is surface. Surface, it's not the Surface Book or Surface Pro made by Microsoft, but this word is surface. So surface, it refers to the top or the outer part of something. As you know, we are living on the planet Earth, and the planet Earth consists of many different layers. You know, layer like this, part of this, so we call layers. So nowadays we are living on the surface of the earth, which means the top layer of the earth. Number 3, which means friction. So friction, okay, friction. So frictions function as noun. It refers to force that make things difficult to move. To make it simple, in Khmer we call kokat, okay? And if you put your hands together and you just rub it, and the longer you do it, it will get hot. So the hot caused by frictions. Number 4, float. Float, it functions as verb. If something float, which means it stay on the surface of the liquid. Okay, if you go to swim in I think we call it the Black Sea or the Dark Sea or whatsoever. So those sea, people floating on the surface of that sea, you cannot go down because there are some special thing about that sea that make people float, and it is very salty, that sea. Number 5, which is magma. Magma. You might feel familiar with this word in your geography class. Okay. Magma refers to a hot liquid rock. You might be confused by this word. Rock is solid, rock is hot. Why we call it liquid? So I will explain later. Hot liquid rock below surface of the earth. Below the earth, it is very extremely hot. That's why the rock can also turn its form from a solid object to become a liquid. And if you want to see the magma, you can go to the country where there's a volcano. So volcano, they have the magma inside that volcano, which is a very hot liquid rocks. Number 6, we call it plate. It is not the things that you put your food on in this context. In terms of the science lesson, when you hear the word plate, it refers to the rocky outer layer of earth. So we are living on the plates of the earth here. Have you ever heard the theory called the plate tectonics? Plate tectonics. The theory suggests that our continents are separate, or we can say are together, and because of the movement of the earth, we are apart. For example, the Asian continents are away from the European continents, And these continents are referred to the plate, which is floating on top of the sea or the surface of some things. Last but not least, number 7, you might heard this word before and you might not like it, which is tsunami. So tsunami, it seems like a Japanese word, but actually if you do Googling or check it on the internet, it is the English word. So tsunami refers to a large wave caused by earthquake under the sea. So in Japan, there are a lot of tsunami. That is why these names sound like Japanese name, but it is an English word, tsunamis. Tsunami caused by the earthquake, which means tsunami is the effects, and what caused tsunami is the earthquakes. So everyone, this is a science lesson, and it is a good idea for you to watch some video related to the science subjects, because you get a lot of idea about the earth where you are living on. Anyway, these are the 7 vocabulary that you need to learn in this video. Make sure you are able to read the word, you are able to define it correctly and use the word correctly in the sentence. Now, it's come to the end of our second session for today, and I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Goodbye!